Welcome to Speak for Yourself. Marcellus Wiley here with Emmanuel, New York Times best-selling author, Acho in the building.
My dog. From here on out, you introduce me like that, please, sir.
Every time?
Every time. For the next 2 days.
Okay. Middle name or you want it as the first? What you want, big dog? Amazing. How you feel for real? Let's do it.
Honestly, I feel great. When you work very hard at something and for something, it is awesome to see the fruits of the labor. So kudos, honestly, to everybody who bought the book, because they the reason, not me.
Hope the book is more eloquent than that reception speech right there. But I love you, big dog. Got love for you. All right, let's get it started in the NFC West. You know I got jokes. The Seahawks are hosting the Cardinals in a huge matchup tonight on Fox. Both teams are currently in a three-way tie along with the Rams for first in the division. Russell Wilson's squad has lost 3 of their last 4, while Kyler Murray and Arizona are coming off an incredible game-winning Hail Mary touchdown last week. So, Acho, best-selling author you are. Which team needs to win more tonight, the Cardinals or the Seahawks?
It's funny because, number one, we look like Christmas up here in the, in the red and the green.
Burnt orange.
Number two, we look like the Cardinals-Seahawks matchup, again, in the red and the green. But I actually think that the Cardinals, they need to win more tonight. Now, everybody knows that the sky is falling in Seattle, but hear me out. I'm going to go big picture again. I'm going to go macro before I go micro.
Okay.
If you're the Arizona Cardinals, if you're a Cardinals fan, they haven't really been good in 5-6 years, since Bruce Arians' 3rd year there, the middle of Bruce Arians' tenure. The reason I know my brother played 4 years for the Cardinals, I was a hardcore Cardinals fan. They won 11 games. They won 13 games. They went to the conference, or the conference championship game. I'm basketball, football, you know, we versatile up here. They went to the conference championship game, lost to the Carolina Panthers. But after that, 8-8, 7-9. 5-10-1, 3-13 was in there somewhere. The Cardinals, Marcellus, have not proven themselves to be at the top of the mountain. I think this game tonight would be that huge step. It's not the top of the mountain, no. But if you're a Cardinals fan being led by Kyler Murray, you know what you mortgaged to get Kyler Murray. You mortgaged the first-round quarterback in Josh Rosen. You drafted Josh Rosen top 15 and might have even been top 10 as a to me. But you draft Josh Rosen, then, Josh Rosen, you up out of here. You got to go because we're bringing in Kyler Murray. That's a risky decision. It's a risky decision to get rid of a top 10 quarterback to bring in a number 1 quarterback. It's a riskier decision to hire a head coach who was 35-40. Who had losing seasons his final 3 seasons at Texas Tech, that is Cliff Kingsbury, even with the quarterback by the name of Patrick Mahomes. It's a riskier decision to make that kind of asinine move. I called it asinine at the time. But now, sitting at 6-3, you could go to 7-3. Wait a second. Now, all of these risky decisions that should have been judged and rightfully were judged, they all might pay off if you handle business tonight. Now it looks like you're legitimate. For that reason, give me the Cardinals needing this win more.
I like that. I don't love it because I'm looking at the flip, and I'm looking at the Seahawks, and I'm looking at them, and they have so much to prove. It's not so much the same gamble, but certainly a greater payoff. When you think about a Seahawks team with their quarterback that have won a Super Bowl before. Could have won 2, but they only won 1. And then they said, let's go out there this year and prove we can win in a different way. Not defensive-led, not led by their rushing attack, led by Russell Wilson. Let Russ cook. So, 1, you start off fast. You start off perfect, 5-0. But you lost 3 of your last 4 games. And all of a sudden, you start to question. You're starting to doubt what your philosophy is, what the premise is for this team. What are they really standing on in terms of foundation? Is it really the fact that we're going to try and let Russ cook and have confidence in that, and that could get us another Lombardi trophy? Or is it more of what we've been experiencing of late? A lot of losses. Remember, Russell Wilson has started 137 regular season games, but never lost 3 straight. Imagine he loses his 3rd straight against a team in his division when they already had a flip in philosophy, a flip in how they tried to support this philosophy, and it comes back to haunt them. To me, this is a lot on the line at stake for the Seahawks.
That's a good take. I love conversations like these because we're not super far one direction. The truth is somewhere in the middle. Let me push back. I was 30,000 feet in the air. Now let me get to 15,000. Let me get a little closer to micro.
This is your captain speaking. Let's get down here.
Let's get down to it.
Okay.
At this point still in the season, we're 10, 11 weeks in, whatever the case is. At this point, I don't care so much about how many wins you have. Now we'll start to determine who'd you beat.
That's where you are.
That's
now?
where I'm at. That's
now?
where I'm, yeah, we're
I thought you'd be there early to get confidence. You there late? I need wins when you're late.
I don't care about the wins anymore because it's time to decipher who's a contender and who's a pretender. We're 11 weeks in. Like, I don't care about what you did in week 1, what you did in week 2. Okay. Are you serious or are you not?
Okay.
With the Cardinals, I am still torn. Here's why. They got 6 wins, bro. But they beat the Washington football team. They beat the Jets. They beat the Cowboys. They beat the 49ers. They beat the Seahawks.
Yeah.
But that was in overtime.
Yeah.
They beat the Bills. But that took a DeAndre Hopkins, Angels in the outfield, Hail Mary. Oh, and then they lost to the Dolphins. So as I look at it, not figure of speech, but literally speaking, they played 3 playoff teams. Dolphins, Bills, Seahawks. Beat the Seahawks in overtime. You beat the Bills, by a prayer, and you lost to the Dolphins. Those are the only 3 playoff teams that these Cardinals have played.
Okay.
I am not convinced that these Cardinals are bona fide dogs yet. Because if you beat the Seahawks by a coin flip and you beat the Bills by less than a coin flip, we saw that, then I want to be convinced. As a Cardinals fan, I want to be convinced that this team is legitimate. If they beat the Seahawks again tonight, I don't care if it's by a point, I don't care if it's a fluke, I don't care if it's an overtime. If you beat a team twice, now I'm like, you know what? Bump all that. Bump luck, bump chance, bump all that. You are legitimate. You're a bona fide team. That's really why I think this is so important for the Cardinals to solidify their status.
I know you over there balling out of control, man. You're media mogul, next level kind of guy. The bigger you get, the bigger I look because I'm with you. So keep riding. Here's the thing, though. You have now fallen prisoner to your luxury, to your new influence. And that's how you're looking at the Arizona Cardinals. You're looking at it like, oh, you know what? Filet mignon, but temperature around 420. You're starting to get too detailed.
Can we pause here? See, I got my filet mignons Oscar style. You ever get them Oscar style?
I have.
With the crab meat.
I didn't know what the hell. It just sounded rich. I kept saying, yeah. When they offer you something, you got to say, yeah. If not, they looking at you like, bro, you don't know? Oh, so I say, yeah, Oscar style. It's pretty good. Here's the thing. Your luxurious ass is sitting over there getting too detailed about what the Arizona Cardinals look like. How about they just make the playoffs? Go back to where I live. Necessity.
Okay, talk to me.
All right, here's the Seattle Seahawks. Yep. Forget luxury. They want to know first, forget are we legitimate? Are we even going the right direction? You're trying to say, do we have confidence in the direction we're going? Where the Seahawks are like, do we even have confidence that this is the right direction, let alone what we're doing? Look at the Seahawks in their wins and losses. Who have they beat? The Dolphins? That's just about it that you're talking about in playoff contention right now. There's some outside teams, but I don't see a win over there where you have confidence if you're a Seahawks fan. So your argument, I could squash that again, paper, rock, scissors, because the Seahawks don't even know if they're going the right direction, let alone are they really contenders even going in that direction. You can say early season Russell Wilson, early season Seahawks, but I'm not seeing that. They have confidence slightly over this same Arizona bunch because, remember, 10 points up with less than 3 minutes to go. That's what that ball game was. And then, obviously, it flipped, and in overtime, Arizona gets to win. But if you're Seattle, you got to hang your hat on what you have most, which is you're still leading the NFL in scoring. You're still trying to figure out, is Russ cooking the best way? Or, let's be real, it's time to get this rushing attack back into the fold. I know we've had injuries at the running back position all around, but still, we have to change our play calling to give us balance, to shorten the game, to keep the field and possession in our favor, and then start to help this defense out. So look at the difference. Arizona's not going in there trying to say, let's recalculate our formula. They're just trying to win another game. I look at Russell Wilson, I look at the Seahawks, they may be recalculating the formula and still needing to win that same game.
I liked everything about that take except for one thing.
What, the Oscar part?
Oh, you said paper, rock, scissors. You know it's rock, paper, scissors.
Is it really?
It's rock, paper.
Paper wins more than rock.
Scissors.
Paper wins more than rock.
I didn't even know.
3, 2, 1, let's go. I ain't.
Got to. I know what I'm talking about. Shoot. You know rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Man, you millennials change everything. What happened to the hood? Where we see? I ain't doing it again. I won already. I'm keeping my win.
Look, bro,
Thank you, America.
Everything was good with your take, but let me get back because it's hard to diffuse and defute what you're saying. Seahawks desperately need a dub. They desperately need a dub.
And a compass.
Yes.
And a compass.
They desperately need both of those things. But as I look at it, because I've loved this division, to me, this has been one of the toughest divisions in football for the last decade. The Seahawks are at the top of the mountain, Marcellus.
What mountain?
They've gone to the playoffs every year but once since Russ took over.
And that was the year that Russ cooked.
True.
And see, that's where the confidence is waning.
I'm going to tangent there in a second.
Okay.
But they've gone to the playoffs every year but one. They went to the Super Bowl back-to-back years. The Niners, they got theirs. The Rams, they went. They got theirs. They didn't win it, but they were there.
Yeah.
So the Cardinals, they've looked at the top of this mountain. They're like, oh, Seahawks, we see you up there. Niners, we see you've been up there. Rams, we see you've been up there. But help, we're down here.
Right.
For me, if you're the Seahawks, bro, if you're the Cardinals, if you sweep the Seahawks in the season, nobody else can question you. But now let's go super micro and talk Kyler Murray.
Okay.
First-round pick quarterbacks we've seen fail and be questioned lately.
Yep.
Baker Mayfield came from the same college as Kyler Murray, University of Oklahoma. Similar playing styles. Baker was just as quick in the pocket. Obviously, Kyler much quicker outside the pocket and much more dangerous with the speed. Jameis Winston, first-round pick at quarterback. Marcus Mariota, number 2 overall. What are they doing? Then Kyler, you come in. Wait a second. They trade Josh Rosen just to go 5-10-1. Sure, you showed some promise early on, but 5-10-1. Okay, they had your rookie season. Sophomore year, you start off 2-2. You lose to the Lions. You start off 2-0. Oh, but wait, you've now won 4 out of your last 5. Maybe you are legitimate. It's time to be legitimate. It's time to cement the boss status. If the Cardinals go 6-4, lose to the Seahawks, knowing you only beat the Seahawks in overtime and you only beat the Bills by a prayer, you're looking at that team and you're like, y'all 6-4, but y'all are really about 4-6. I don't like playing those games. Just cement it. Show everybody who boss.
Yeah, but you got to remember, even if you split with, think about it, you split with the Seattle Seahawks. If you split with them, is that going to kill your confidence or maybe just wound it partially? And it's going to be a wound that you can heal pretty fast going forward. I just don't see how that is damning to you. But what is damning to the Seahawks if they get swept?
That's real.
Think about it. Matter of fact, here's a nugget. Only 6 teams in NFL history have ever been swept by the same team in that year and win a Super Bowl that year. So guess what? Almost going by history, chances are we're not going to win a Super Bowl if only 6 guys have ever been swept.
Wait a second now. We got a tangent now. Because what that say about your Tampa Bay Buccaneers now? What that say about your Tampa Bay Super Bowl winning Buccaneers who've been swept by the Saints, sir? What that say about them?
Damn, your face look funny. You looking at me crazy, boy. Here we go. I said 6. I said only 6. And Seahawks ain't going to be 7. So, look, Tampa Bay is in a different conversation, in a different block. We're going to address that situation later, Your Honor. Can you stay focused on this case right here? Point being, I get you there. Like, only 6 gives you some hope, but not enough hope for this Seahawks team, as fractured as they look right now, to creep through. Coming up at the top of the hour, we have more on Kyler Murray. He says he's one of the best players in the league. Is he cocky or just confident? But first, we're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. Carson Wentz is being called out, so we'll tell you if Philly has a problem at quarterback with Carson Wentz. Next, speak for yourself. Call me on that, Cap.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. It's time to talk about my guy, Carson Wentz. I get it. He's having the worst season, worst year of his career, including leading the league in interceptions. NFL Network's Mike Silver reported there's a sense within the organization that Wentz has developed sloppy practice habits. Wentz addressed that yesterday. Y'all take a listen.
Are my practices perfect? No. I mean, that's why it's practice. But as far as sloppy practice habits and those things, for one, I mean, you guys are out there every day and then you guys are asked to leave. So the media's not even out there. So I don't know where that's coming from. But it is what it is. Do mistakes happen? Absolutely. But is that something that I've seen or that I'm worried about for myself or anybody else? No, I'm not.
And you shouldn't be, Wentz.
Yeah,
Let me defend you too, though. But Sal, I'm going to go to you first. Do the Eagles have a Carson Wentz problem?
Yes, they do. And Carson Wentz over there saying all that with his chest, he should only sound like that when he's at the bank. That's the only time I want to hear tough talk from him, when he cashing them big checks. But anywhere else, on this planet, he need to chill with all of that bravado because you know what? They do have a Carson Wentz problem, and he knows it. And he knows that this problem is someone that's on his side, someone in that building. Friendly fire, if you want to go there, because what? This is an organization that's already drafted at your position, Carson Wentz. So don't act like, oh, this is just some outside noise. No, they already told you above board, hey, man, you all right? Because we're going to draft at your position, not at the bottom of the draft, second round. Let me say it again, because, you know, second round of pride. Second round, big dog. They drafted a quarterback in the second round, and he's gotten snaps. Have you seen Jordan Love yet? Have you? Anybody? Jordan Love? No. But have we seen Jalen Hurts? Hell yeah, and the truth hurts, Carson Wentz. So here's two things I want to point out. One, business one-on-one, Carson Wentz. I know you're winning at the bank, but business one-on-one is we can't pay you more and get less. 2017, when they had Carson Wentz on the rookie deal, and he was out there MVP candidate before the injury, 11-2 record. How much did they pay Carson Wentz? $1.6 million. This year, the same Carson Wentz, same guy, same uniform, same number everywhere, whose passer rating is 31st, whose completion percentage is 32nd, whose passing yards per attempt is 31st, and who has the most giveaways in the league, is getting paid $39.3 million to give us less? Where do they do that at? And that's where Carson Wentz has to come to that realization. Second point, because this is friendly fire.
Don't shoot all your points early now, Coach.
Dog, I've been this guy before. Trust me, I can go all day. My second point is this. When they start talking about how you practice, and the media is kicked out after the first 10, 15 minutes, so only people who can see how you practice are who? The people you're practicing with. This came from the inside. This is an inside job. So once again, we have a Carson Wentz teammate issue, and we've heard this before, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Sir, there's nothing about this that's an inside job, okay? This is just nonsense.
Okay,
and
here
I
it
don't pay
comes.
attention to nonsense because what you tell me, it don't make no sense.
It don't make no sense.
The Eagles don't have a Carson Wentz problem. So a problem by definition, I had to look it up. Let me look up what a problem is. A problem by definition, it's a matter or a situation regarded as unwelcome. So if they had a Carson Wentz problem, that would be to say that Carson Wentz is regarded as unwelcome. Carson ain't regarded as unwelcome. Carson is as welcome as one can be. If there had a Carson Wentz problem, that would imply that there is a Carson Wentz solution. Let me tell you what the problem is. The problem is have a Jalen Hurts problem. Shoot. You have a roster depletion problem. You have an injury problem. You have an offensive stability from the offensive coordinator problem over the last several years. But do you have a Carson Wentz problem? I see several problems at hand. Let me tell you why. Three second-round picks have played under 100 snaps. Cam Akers, he's played 82. A.J. Dillon, he's played 49. Jalen Hurts, he's played 30. If you were going to draft Jalen Hurts in the second round, use him. But I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't be using him, because he ain't doing nothing when you use him. But if you don't draft him, use him. Let me talk about other second-round picks. T. Higgins, he's played 463 snaps. Chase Claypool, he had, 3 or 4 touchdowns
I love
in the game.
that dude.
He played 396 snaps. Now, I get it. Eagles fans are going to say we drafted a receiver in the first round. My issue is they have several problems, but Carson Wentz is not the main problem. Is Carson Wentz having some issues? Sure, but he's not the main problem. I don't even need my notes.
You got another one?
Let me talk to you.
You got, don't shoot all your things. Take your first take.
All right. When it comes to Wentz, hey, I don't run out of ammo.
Okay, thank you.
Russell Wilson. Nobody's saying that the Seahawks have a Russell Wilson problem. What are they saying? They're quantifying the issues. They're qualifying the issues. Okay. Russell Wilson's trying to do too much because his defense is bad. Russell Wilson's been turning the ball over because of such. People aren't like, oh, my God, the Seahawks have a Wilson problem. They understand what's going on. Before I give it back to you, let me go to a full screen.
You went that far with it. You went that far.
Full screen mirror image. Let's talk about it, because I'm going to put this in context for y'all. Carson Wentz's first 4 games, the worst stretch that he has had this season. He went 1-2-1. 8 giveaways, 14 sacks.
Oh, you're doing this.
Russell Wilson, his last 4 games, 1-3. 10 giveaways, 15 sacks. What is the narrative around Russell Wilson? The narrative, his defense is terrible. He's having to do too much. He's turning the ball over. We all as a world, as sports analysts, we understand that. Carson Wentz, for whatever reason, even though he doesn't have help, the narrative is he's terrible. His worst wasn't as bad as Russ's worst. But Russ gets graced by Marcellus and the rest of the world, and Wentz gets none of it.
Wow. I don't know what you had to take at University of Texas or even prior to that. I don't know if you ever took an anatomy class, but usually we're going to talk in this world of sports about a body of work.
Sure.
And looking at you, you don't want to talk about a body of work. You want to cut off pieces and say,
you talking about how they're both Super Bowl champions?
Yeah. Yeah, except one was on the field and one was doing what we were doing. That's a good game.
They both contributed about the same amount and again the Super Bowl.
Boy, stop. Once you on the field and you taking hits, you doing more than somebody eating popcorn.
I heard about the Legion of Boom that time.
That's what I heard. Okay, so in your body of work synopsis of you analyzing this body of work, you want to break down the lesser parts. You want to break down the worst parts. But you don't want to talk about the complimentary parts for Russell Wilson because there's no comparison with Carson Wentz on the highs, right? So looking at you, your body work, nice torso, Acho. Face, head, all right. Lower body, I seen your problem. You ain't got the legs to do it, Acho. That's what happened to you, bro. The little baby ankles, little legs. What happened, dog? You top heavy. That's the point. You want to make this a top heavy conversation or bottom heavy conversation. Either way you go, Russell Wilson does not belong in the same sentence as Carson Wentz. Let's talk about what Carson Wentz belongs in. In this sentence, are you getting what you paid for? Ooh, Acho. Can you answer that? Are they getting what they paid for? Hell no.
First in the NFC East.
They're what?
First in the NFC East.
By whose standards and by whose work? It's not by Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is supposed to lead this team. He wasn't supposed to be a problem on this team. I look at this and you want to negate the fact that this is an inside job? Did you say that this is not an inside job? I will quote. See, I know everybody, bruh. And if I don't know him, I know somebody that knows him. Here's a quote from Brandon Graham. You know who Brandon Graham is?
BG,
Is that your
dog.
Oh, no. Don't act like you know Brandon Graham better than me.
I play with BG.
I don't give a damn. You BG, my dog. Look, you know what BG said then?
What'd he say?
What'd he say? I thought you knew him. Yeah, no.
I don't read his quotes. I don't read his quotes.
Here's his quote about this team. You know what? If we're going to be real about what's happening around here, some of the stuff that's showing up out there is happening in practice. Oh, coincidence. No one asked him. No one prompted him. He just went up there and said, you know what? Excuse me, Your Honor. A lot of stuff that's happening bad in the game is happening in the practice.
How do we know he was talking about?
In coincidence with a national story about his quarterback, once again, jumping off sides, pre-snap penalties, false starts, people dropping balls, us not getting off the rock, etc. happens in practice. You trying to tell me it's a coincidence that Brandon Graham would say this week? Or is it a correlation to Carson Wentz and their problem?
I'm not going to let you lie to these fans watching this show that aren't on the football field. Let me tell you how you're lying. Let me tell you how I know you're lying. And when you're in an NFL
I do
practice,
know BG.
When you're in an when you're in an NFL practice, Marcellus, you know this, so stop lying to the people. The first team offense rarely plays the first team defense.
Of course. I didn't say that.
What Brandon Graham is talking about, he don't even see Carson Wentz in practice.
Oh, don't do that.
He doesn't.
You on the sidelines?
Because Carson Wentz sees the scout team. I was the scout team player.
Are you on the sideline? I was the first team defense.
Yes, and I watched
them. You watched them. Are you getting team? What do you think we doing when the first team's out there? We're not going against them. We watching them.
I'm not talking.
We like, damn, Carson, sorry. How much he making?
I'm not talking training camp. He's talking about right now.
Practice.
During practice.
Team, last drill before practice breaks up was team. And it was ones on scrubs, and then
watch your mouth. Watch your mouth, Marcellus. Okay, you're not going to keep calling me a scrub on national television if I come out this suit.
Did I make that connection? One against them, and then one against them.
I was them.
You were them. So the point is, after practice, and they come up to you and they ask you a question, hey, what's going on in practice? There's a report out there by Mike Silver about Carson Wentz. Brandon Graham is a professional. He knows how to answer that question. Why do you think he would step in it knowing that this is a national conversation about his quarterback, unless there's some truth to it?
Because, Sal, the Eagles' defense got burned by the Giants again.
Okay.
Brandon Graham plays defensive end, for y'all that don't know. Plays defensive end, having the best year of his career, by the way. Incredible.
Thank you.
11 years balling. But he plays defensive end. He just got burned on defense. I would assume that this quote actually isn't about Carson Wentz. Here's the problem, Marcellus. Guilty people think guilty. You always think negative about Carson Wentz, so you just grasp for negativity. Somebody said somebody was late today. It must have been Wentz. Somebody said they didn't put up their tray in the cafeteria. It must have been Wentz.
Oh, my God.
Why are you going to assume that everything is about Carson Wentz? Carson Wentz, is he helping the Eagles? No. But is he the problem?
Wait a minute. If you're not good, you're bad.
You could be asymptomatic.
I thought in football, either you're getting better or you're getting
You can see.
So guess what? In the games, we win or we lose. These ties don't happen in evaluation, brother. In evaluation, we're not looking at you like you stand pat. You didn't do anything. No, he did something. His contributions are number 3 in the league in terms of how much we're invested in him. But if you look at his production, big dog, he's bottom 3. How do you justify that?
Let me ask you this, Sal. Let me ask you.
Seriously, I'm not even arguing.
God, let's go here. Ooh, I'm about to win this argument. I love it. I love when I'm about to win. I'm about to tell
That means you've been losing, though.
I know.
Oh, okay. I'll take some of that.
When you start a season, let's go back to the NFL. You're with the Bills, you're with the Chargers, I don't care.
Chill.
What were your goals?
My goals?
What were the team goals? What's the coach say when you
My goals are the team goals.
Team goals. You're selfish. What were the team goals?
Money. Team goals, win a division, first one.
And then what?
Try and win the games in the playoffs. Going to 3-4 game win streak, it's a wrap.
Right now, you just said the team goals, which are accurate. Marcellus ain't lying to y'all for once. The goals for everybody. Win the division, you make it to the playoffs. Make it to the playoffs, you got a chance. You don't even honestly say win the Super Bowl. No. Like in the most NFL teams, they don't really say like, hey, let's win the Super Bowl. It's just make it to the playoffs. Make it to the playoffs,
Give
you got
yourself a chance, yeah.
What is Carson Wentz doing? The Eagles' goals at the beginning of the season, win the division. Where are the Eagles after 10 weeks in the season? Winning the division. So I don't get where this problem is coming from when they are literally fulfilling the goal that they have, which every other team has.
Yes, I respect that. That analogy is correct. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. If you've ever done a group project in school, and we've all done them, and it's due on Friday, and then you call everybody on Thursday, you got yours. Carson, you got yours. Carson's like, hey, man, when is it due again? You're like, tomorrow. And you're like, all right, we're going to turn it in. We're going to give Carson the credit. His name going to be on the project. But damn it, you're going to be eye-rolling that dude left and right.
Hey, that's fair. My dog, hey, you spitting facts. But let's also go there because I hated group projects because somebody wasn't going to do their work. But you know what else happens during group projects? You call up your home. You send out a group text. We millennials. We ain't calling. You send out a group text. Hey, man, I'm not feeling too well. I can't show up. Let me text the other person. Hey, man, I'm sick. I can't show up. Hey, man, I won't be there. That's what's happening with the Eagles. Deshaun Jackson. Hey, Carson, bruh. Man, I got a knee. I can't show up. Alshon Jeffrey. Hey, man. I start the season. I can't show up. I'll be there about week 9, week 10. Zach Ertz. I'll be riding with you, dog, but I'm hurt. I can't show up. Miles Sanders. Hey, man, something came up. I can't show up. Jalen Reagor. Bro, I wish I could. Dallas Goedert. Man, I was there early on, but I can't. Jason Peters. Hey, big dog. I know I got but I can't show up. Marcellus.
What?
Carson sent out the group text. And could nobody show up. Coming up, Cam Newton thinks the Patriots are better than 4-5 record.
Wonder why.
I'm going to tell you if we agree or not. Y'all know we ain't about to agree. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Hell no, I ain't answering that, dude. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. That was funny. Patriots are 4-5 after their upset win over the Ravens and have now won 2 straight. Earlier this week, Cam Newton said, quote, "We are a good enough team to be better than what our record displays." Cam added, quote, "I've always believed that we were close." So Acho, do you agree with Cam that the Patriots are better than their 4-5 record?
I don't get how. No, I don't agree with Cam Newton.
Oh, you're that guy.
This has been such a trying year for me. No, Marcellus, it's not COVID. It's not relocating to a new city. It's having to criticize Cam Newton. Like, that's one of the toughest parts of my life this year because I rock with Cam. I rock with Super Cam, everything that Cam stands for, and I rock with my dog. But I got to call a spade, sir. You said it's facts over feelings, so let me speak factually. How in the world are y'all better than your 4-5 record when your 3 touchdowns isn't better than your 4-5 record? Cam, if I'm speaking about you personally. Okay, now let's talk from a large-scale perspective. You all are hit or miss. That is what 4-5 is. You win and you lose. You win less often than you lose. Well, let's look at the season. You beat the Dolphins early on somehow, some way, in a close grudge match. Then you get into a shootout and you lose to the Seahawks. Then you beat the Raiders. Then you lose to the Chiefs. I don't know what this Patriots team is, Sal. And then if you're talking about being better than your 4-5 record, if one of your wins is against the Jets, then it's quite literally impossible to be better than your 4-5 record because that was a gimme. That was a simulated game. You know, when you play in Madden back in the day and you don't feel like playing that game, you just hit the simulate button and it just goes on to the next.
Auto.
That's all that was. That was a simulated game. So I would actually submit that they might be worse than their 4-5 record. It's not to say that Patriots are not capable of beating teams because we just saw what they did to the Ravens. They are capable of beating teams in close grudge match, fist fight type of games. But anytime There is minimal to no room for error, and that's what the Patriots had. I said this a couple days ago. I'll say this to y'all tuning in. Patriots are 4-0 when they win the turnover battle, and I know you hate this stat, but they are 0-5 when they tie or lose the turnover battle. What that means is they don't even have any room for error. They got to be perfect. You can't bank on this team being perfect week in, week out. That is why they are 4-5. Their record is actually very accurate for the team that they are.
Wow, wow, wow. I always knew that you were a pessimist. Never knew that you were a fatalistic pessimist, like next level. You and Jeff Saturday, two dudes that I love. But two dudes that are on the flip side when it comes to looking at a glass and see if it's half empty or if it's half full. And we look at this situation, the glass is half full. And that's why I support Cam Newton and what he's saying. And what he's saying is actually correct. Some teams are worse than their record. And some teams are better than their record. I'll give you some examples. 13-3 Green Bay last year going into the playoffs. We were like, they're a little worse than that record. But we're going to see what happens, and we saw what happened. They won one game, and then they got smoked. Okay, so we knew that. Now, let's look at a situation where you see go back in history a little bit, 2011, a 9-7 Giants team. Oh, my God. I wonder if they're better than that. They win against a perfect Super Bowl.
But are you? Let me ask you,
team.
Because it's a good. You want somewhere good here.
I know you want to interrupt it. Go ahead.
Is this predicated off winning and losing the Super Bowl?
No, this is predicated off of your record because you took it personal. We said team and record. You went, okay, Cam Newton and his performances. Oh, why'd you do that, Acho? Maybe because you couldn't stick to the script and to the question. But I will because I'm disciplined. Damn it. And so I'm looking at this as you're a 4-5 team, and someone like Acho was like, doo-doo, y'all only won a virtual game against the Jets. Oh, when you don't know what something is, Acho, put it under the microscope and let's look at it. Let's look at their losses and their wins right now. Only one bad loss. Denver by 6. The rest support what Cam Newton is talking about. They beat 3 6-3 teams. You want to know who they are? The Miami Dolphins. They beat the Raiders, and they beat the Ravens. Oh, excuse me, Dougie Fresh. Only lost to the early season perfect Seattle Seahawks. And then you lose to the 49ers with Jimmy G. And we know that Jimmy G in his 4 years as a 49er has only lost 9 games. So losing to Jimmy G when he's out there with the 49ers, okay, I can understand that. My point is this. You are not always what your record says it is. History has shown that. This year has shown that. Imagine that you're the L.A. Raiders. Vegas Raiders. Damn, I'm on Oakland. Vegas Raiders. Vegas Raiders. Are they better than the Chiefs?
No.
Oh, did they beat the Chiefs? Oh, guess what? It doesn't matter always head-to-head matchup. Records and competition can alter your perception like it did to you, Acho. Now it's time to bring in Fox NFL analyst Greg Jennings. I got him on the ropes. So, Greg, you agree with Cam that the Patriots are better than their 4-5 record?
Absolutely not.
Thank you.
I don't. They are 4-5 for a reason. This team has struggled to score points. Acho hit the nail on the head. When you turn the ball over, and you don't give yourself a chance. And this team, a team that struggles to score, they're tied for, or I shouldn't say tied, they're at the bottom tier when it comes to points scored. I think 27th or below in ranking when it comes to points scored. So when you talk about turning the ball over and you can't put up points or you can't produce points, you have the 31st most the 31st worst team in 3 and out. So that means you don't even really sustain drives. Offensively, they've struggled, and we don't ever do this as players, as coaches, even as media. When we all played, we never got on the plane after a win and said, "Man, we should have lost that game." We never do that. We never do that. If we were 7-1, we never go in the locker. We never go in the locker room and be like, "We really should be 3-4, guys." What? But we always do the inverse. We always say, no, we really should be 8-0. We really should be 9-0. We always do that when we lose the close game, but never when we win it do we say we should have actually lost. So this team's record is what it is because they haven't been able to win in the 60 minutes or more that they've been allotted.
Hey, look, my bad if I had to pull the Green Bay team from last year and get under your skin because I know you got Green Bay in your heart and talk about how that 13-3 was empty. My bad. Well, let me go somewhere else. Let me go back to the Giants. Remember the Giants in 2011? They had a -6-point differential Think about that. They were a 9-17 that had a negative point differential and beat a perfect team. Guess what? They weren't what their record said that they were. So guess what? If you look at this situation, it's the same thing, Greg Jennings. I have been on teams where I've been on the plane like, boy, we shouldn't have won that one. And I've been on games where I'm like, damn, we should have won that one. Who hasn't? That's called competition. I was on an 0-3 team. Turned around, we were 10-6 that same year. I also was on a 4-0 team. We ended up being 5-11. Guess what? I've been on both sides of this coast and understanding that it doesn't always add up into the win-loss column because of some breaks, some bad penalties, things that you can't control. You can have a tough record. Oh, God. Houston Texans is a horrible example this year. But let's talk about the Houston Texans. When they first few games, what they have? Kansas City, Baltimore. They like, damn, we're better than that. Yeah, you are, but you're not much better than that. But point being, you don't have to be a literalist. You don't have to say, the New England Patriots are 4-5, so guess what they are? 4-5. You can actually say, damn, those some close losses. Damn, those some good wins. Maybe you are a little better than your record.
Get him, Greg, so I don't have to.
Yeah, you ain't got nothing.
Look, I hear what you're saying, but this is why I disagree with you, Marcellus.
Okay.
Because when you look at the New England Patriots, if they would have won those games, are we having this conversation of them being better or worse? We're not having this conversation. Only when a team doesn't get it done, when they have had the opportunity to get it done. I don't care what your record is. All I care is what you produce and what you show me. And what they have not shown me is the ability to win games.
I agree.
You want to go back to 2011? You want to go back to 2011 and talk about teams that were better than what they record was? We were a 10-6 team to play the year we won the Super Bowl. Were we deserving of that? Yes. Did we end up being a better team? Of course, we got hot. But right now, when we look at the New England Patriots, they are a 4-5 team.
Can I give you some of this?
It's not a matter. It's not. We're not at the end, so we don't know what they're going to be and what they're capable of. Right now, they are a 4-5 team. Period.
Wow. All I want you to understand is this same team, this same organization has been here before. You want to go back to your years? You want to go back even further? Let's go back to 2001. Do you remember that year? You're a historian. Acho's out this conversation. You're a historian. You know the game. They were 5-5. And people like you, if you were a broadcaster then instead of trying to be an active player, would have went on TV and said, you know who they are? They're just a 5-5 bunch and they have no future. They are what this is. And then that same team goes out there and wins. What is that?
They had a quarterback
a Super Bowl championship.
They had a quarterback change.
It's not always.
They inserted the best quarterback ever.
Can we do our job and not just talk X's and O's, but talk the I's and the U's? The I's and the U's is adding on to what everyone else sees because we see it differently because we've been there before. And don't act like you ain't never been there before and say we're a little better than this or we're a little worse than this. Come on, guys.
Let's talk the G's and the E's because it's a Greg and Emmanuel conversation because Marcellus talking crazy. Here's the differentiation that Marcellus is making, Greg, which you and I understand, the rest of the world understands, but Marcellus obviously doesn't. I'm not saying they can't get hot. I'm not the Giants. They got hot. Greg, the year they won the Super Bowl, they got hot. Teams can get hot. The Titans last year, Marcellus, they got hot. But you're not going to sit here and tell me that they are better or worse than what their record is. The Packers are 13-3 last year. They're 1 win away from being in a Super Bowl. They're 13-3. Like, that's not to say they were better than their record. 1 win away from the Super Bowl. When I look at this Patriots team, so they got blown out by the Niners, which you tried to paint as a good picture. Jimmy Garoppolo had 2 interceptions that game. No passing touchdowns. They got blown out.
He's still a winner, though. He on the field.
They got blown out by, not blown out, they got beat by the Broncos, but to get beat by the Broncos is a blowout.
6 points is not.
To get beat by that team is the big
And what else you got? What else you got? What else you got? It's going to get quiet on this set.
They lost to the Bills again. Because why? Because why? Because they turned the ball over.
They lost by 3 to the Bills. Is that a bad loss?
No, it's not. It's not. Well, there are no ugly wins. It ain't no pretty losses.
That's where I think that's where we're all disagreeing. Let's be real about this. Strength of schedule is an indicator of what the road ahead is.
That's
true
fair.
or false?
That's fair.
If there wasn't, if it meant nothing, then they wouldn't talk about strength of schedule all the time. But then when you look at their strength of schedule, you start to realize, man, when you get a win against Miami, when you get a win against the Raiders, when you get a win against the Ravens, You're a good team, and then you only have really one loss where you got to hang your head low and say, damn, why we let Denver come and beat us? I don't hear any other conversation. You could try and exaggerate the 49ers, but Jimmy G just finds a way to win when he's the starting quarterback of the 49ers. So to me, this argument is about y'all don't respect their schedule, because to me, it's kind of a difficult schedule for a first-time quarterback in this new situation.
Greg, you're taking years off my life, Greg.
With a new coach and a new organization that was picked up in early July. Come on, guys.
So Marcellus, they have a top 10. They have the top 10 easiest schedule in the league.
Yeah.
So you want me to feel sorry for them because they're within the top 10 of having the easiest schedule in the league.
Marcellus don't know what you're talking about.
I'm sorry. Yes, you played some teams. You play some teams that have 6-3 records, but that doesn't mean that's not telling. Because you still lost those games.
No. They won those 3 games. See, that's what I'm talking about. We ain't talking the same stuff. We ain't in the same book. They beat 3 teams that have a 6-3 record.
But you know what it is. Sal, if you go back in the history books, because I had to do this, you know me. I'm a youngin', so I got to go back and do my research. I went back and I was like, wait, the great Muhammad Ali, he lost some fights?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wait, Mike Tyson?
He
lost some fights because the people that beat them, they caught them out of their prime. They caught Ali out of his prime. They caught the Tyson out of his prime. So were you telling me that the Patriots beat the Dolphins in week 1 before Tua, when Flores was in his first game as his second year as the organization? You telling me that was a great win? You telling me that when they beat the Raiders, before the Raiders got hot, you're telling me that was a good win? Like, you can't sit here and classify, now that we're 10 weeks in, look at the entire body of work and say, wait, but they beat the Dolphins back in week 1.
It's on their season.
That Dolphins team is not this Dolphins team. You're qualifying.
No team is the same week to week. That's why there's only one undefeated team.
Patriots are.
One undefeated team. I want to say this. How many times have we said this in sports, NBA, NFL, that the conference championship is the real championship this year? Even in the Western Conference, we were thinking that until the Clippers messed up. But the point is, there are times where you can even look at how it's built, the pyramid, all the way to the championship. And you can say one rung lower is really that championship. You know why? Because you're talking about the strength of the schedule. You're talking about the strength of the opponent. You're also talking about 2 teams that maybe the records don't match up, but we know this is the most contention we're going to see in that sport. How come you guys can now apply that to Cam Newton and what he's saying? He's just saying we're close, and being close is we're easily a team that could be 5, 6, maybe even 7 wins. You guys don't see none of that, huh?
I do, but every team in the league feels like that right now.
Oh, really? The Jets do as well. Okay, all right, let's go.
Done.
Coming up, Joe Judge and the Giants, who think they're better than their record, just keeps making headlines.
See, they are better.
This time, his O-line coach was fired. Why you say it now? We'll tell you if we like Judge's no-nonsense approach next. Speak for yourself. How are they better than their record?
They've lost 4 games by... Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. The Giants, they fired offensive line coach Mark Colombo after he reportedly had a verbal altercation with head coach Joe Judge. That included Colombo calling Joe Judge, quote, one of the dirtiest words in the English language. This year, we've also seen Judge make his players and coaches run laps for making mistakes, and he dove into the mud in a fumble recovery drill. Well, Greg Jennings, former Super Bowl champion, he's back with us. But Marcellus, I got to go to you first. Do you like Joe Judge's no-nonsense approach to this season?
I love it. I love it. This is a coach right now that decided that he wants to zig when everyone else is zagging. Like, everybody wants to be player-friendly now as an NFL coach. Even Bill Belichick is talking more than he's ever talked. He's talking all lovely to Cam Newton and his leadership abilities and what he's done for this team and this culture. And Bill Belichick, imagine, is now a player-friendly coach to some degree. Well, not Joe Judge, not his disciple. Joe Judge like, look, if y'all want to go there, I'm going to go somewhere else and build me a culture. And think about the process of building a culture. This is important to understand how dirty it can get, how grimy it can get. I took a horticulture class. You know what that is, Acho? You ever take a horticulture class? One of them electives, easy. You got to go out there, garden, get your hoe, get your, your dirt. You got to go mess up your whole outfit before you even go to lunch. I had it in the 4th period, right before lunch. Digging.
In Columbia?
No, hell no. What are you thinking? This ain't Texas. You can't go to Columbia on no horticulture class. No, this was in junior high school. But you were so stupid. But the point is, you had to do all that work for a whole semester just to see one little sprout. And guess what? That's what this is all about. He just wants to see signs of greatness from this team. And as of late, winners of 2 games in a row, he's starting to finally see those seeds that were planted are starting to sprout up. People don't like the process because it's ugly. People don't like the process because you have to get dirty. And moments like this occur. But you can't be a guy that lets someone go away from what the culture you're trying to build. So, Joe Judge, you get props from me because you're sticking to your guns and you're doing it your way. And right now, we're starting to see some of the benefits.
So here's what I will say. The first thing I will say is kudos to Joe Judge and the Giants right now. Won their last 2 games, won 3 out of their last 5 games. The 2 losses that they didn't win in 3 out of the last 5, lost by combined 3 points. I'm going to tip my hat to you, okay? I'm done with that. Marcellus, there's a phrase. And there's a phrase that they say, act your age, not your shoe size. Sometimes I wish you would act your shoe size and not your age. Because you be acting so old sometimes, Marcel. I love this Joe Judge no-nonsense approach. Here's the problem, fellas.
What?
Y'all remember when y'all was in college, maybe even in the league, you go to the club with that one dude, and they always getting in fights. It's the same dude. It don't matter what club you go to, it's that one dude that's like, hey, bruh, not tonight, don't fight. Why is Joe Judge always getting in fights? Giants aren't the only team with players with egos. Golden Tate's not the only receiver that wants to catch a ball. Mark Colombo's not the only former offensive lineman that's now an offensive line coach. Why is Joe Judge twice in the last 3 weeks gotten into altercations with his own team?
Ooh.
That is what does not make sense to me. We have this concept in America that if you're a leader, you got to lead, you got to be the loudest, you got to be the most aggressive, you got to be the most violent. If you're the leader, can you lead in peacemaking? Can you lead in humility? Can you lead in not selfish adjectives? I'm not saying that Joe Judge is selfish here. What I'm saying is this.
You just did.
So why in the world of all the coaches and all the players and all the teams in the NFL is Joe Judge been at the center of the NFL arguments within his own team for the last 2 weeks? That's why I see a problem.
For me, I don't like the no-nonsense approach. I understand a coach trying to establish a culture and change the culture that once was. But when you start nitpicking, like Acho was saying, every team has players that feel like they can provide more for that team. Every team has coaches that get in their feelings and feel like my group is not the reason why, or they are the reason why we're winning or losing. And when you start confronting coaches, it's like, whoa, what's really going on? Now you're sending a kind of a signal to the rest of the league and coaches out there like, do I really want to go coach with this guy? Is he owning it? Is it a dictatorship? Like, what kind of culture is he really establishing? I get the no nonsense, but is it really no nonsense? Or is it just my way or the highway? I don't get to confront you. I don't get to agree to disagree, because if I do, then I'm out. What is that about? So I don't like that idea and the look of that. And I'm going to tell you this. I've been in a unit or offensive room where there's been a consultant. And what a consultant is a guy that comes in because you don't really feel like the coach that you have leading that unit is qualified or is good enough to get it done by themselves. So Mark Colombo felt like, man, what you're doing me a disservice. You're saying I'm basically the reason why we're losing or we're having issues. No coach wants to feel that way. No player wants to feel that way. So I don't like this no-nonsense approach because it points back to Joe Judge and saying, I got to take ownership for every single thing when it is for me to do so. And I don't think he's really willing to do that.
Here's the thing, man.
What's the thing?
2 things. One, why is this story happening and why are we hearing about it? Because I'm sure it happens other places. We don't hear about it. As Acho was pointing out, well, you're in New York. It's the media capital. I played in New York. Guess what? It's going to come out. So that's one layer to this. But Joe Judge is into self-preservation, like we all are. We don't like to admit it, but we all are. And these coaches out here have short leashes, or some of them have no leashes. And when you go to the New York Football Giants organization, that's in the media capital, in New York City, that has not won a division but one time in the last 10 years, guess what? You know you don't have a leash. And you start off and you draft. And this year in the draft, they drafted three linemen of the first 5 picks, offensive linemen. And then they drafted one, number 4 overall, Andrew Thomas. Y'all know about him? He was struggling. And who's his coach? Mark Colombo. Who's Mark Colombo's old coach? Jason Garrett. And he's looking at Jason Garrett and he's looking at Mark Colombo and he's like, hey, you know, we're heavily invested in this offensive line. Hey, you know our quarterback? He's been sacked the 3rd most of all quarterbacks in the NFL this year. We know there's no Saquon Barkley, and the running game's been picking up of late. But we got some protection issues, and we even had some run blocking issues, especially early this season. Colombo, can you fix this? And Mark Colombo may not acted the right way in that moment, but the issues weren't fixed. So now you got to bring in someone, because you're a hands-on kind of coach, that you can have a better relationship with than a Mark Colombo who you don't really know that well. So what is the wrong in bringing in someone that can help support you and to give you what you need most, which is some production out of the offensive line?
Here's the wrong. And the wrong is to Greg Jennings' point, and then a point that has not yet been made is I don't like fake tough guys. We all know him. We all know the dude that don't want to pick a fight with that dude. So instead, he picks a fight with somebody he knows he's going to win. What am I saying? You bench Golden Tate for the next game after a game in which he only had 3 targets, 1 catch. You already like, Golden Tate, we lost this game without you, so this next game we'll win or lose without you anyway. Not a big deal to bench you. You fire Mark Colombo, who is a redheaded stepchild. Mark Colombo's been an offensive line
fired,
coach. But you part ways with.
Partner.
With Mark Colombo, who's a redheaded stepchild. Mark Colombo came from the Cowboys with Jason Garrett. Jason Garrett, now the Giants' offensive line coach. So I don't really read too much into this, Cell, because I've been a part of teams. I've been a part of places where head coaches, they're not going to really make an example. Because if he really going to make an example out of that dude. Don't make an example out of an offensive line coach who you clearly didn't want there anyway.
Let me say this real quick. He was fired because he didn't finesse and massage the situation after the altercation. Think about it. Somebody comes up to you. Hey, we got some changes going on. It's how you handle that moment that's going to tell more than what you've done to get yourself in that position in the first place. When Fox came to me and said, yeah, we're going to let Emmanuel Acho come ride with you, I'm like, okay. You know what? Because you got to look at your face. But the point is, in that moment, you got to act right, no matter how you feel. Of course, I love you, big dog, and I was glad for you. But if it was somebody I didn't like, you still got to massage that moment. Mark Colombo, former player, and I'm going to generalize, a former player, I know 2 things about him. 1, our ego has not fully adapted to the real world just yet. And 2, we like to have these wink-wink conversations with active players. I've seen all these former player coaches when they get out, hey, come here. You know what? Just holler at me if you ever got in any situation like that. And you can't have that when you're trying to create a culture. So I can understand why this situation would arrive pretty fast as it seems as it has.
Well, for me, my issue is when Joe Judge first took the job, he came out and he said, we're going to get the best qualified coaches for these players. That's my job. It's my job to do that. So Dave, the consultant, he was available. He didn't bring him in right away because he felt like he had done his job with Mark Colombo, hiring him as an offensive line coach. So with that, you give him a chance. You've given him, you just mentioned the draft picks. Yeah. So you want to tell me that I only get 10 weeks, 11 weeks, no offseason, no training camp, virtual everything, and I don't get the actual time on the field with these guys to make sure that the chemistry is right, to eliminate a lot of these issues that we're going to have because they're such young players, and you fire me because you want to bring in a guy that can potentially do better? I don't understand that, because I get it. You talk about it being self-preservation, and that's exactly what it is. It's him trying to point the finger at, look, I'm going to get rid of you because you coming against what I'm trying to get done. We still losing, and regardless if we win in close or losing close games or winning close games, it hasn't equated to us being on the right side of things. So I'm going to make sure that you're not with me when we do advance or we do lose, so that you're the reason. I don't like it. Everything about it is kind of pointing the finger. And when you got a coach or organizations that start pointing fingers and trying to identify, this is the problem, not me, not me, not me, not me, that is already a problem.
Well, he comes from the Patriots, and Bill Belichick will not only get rid of a coach, he'll get rid of a good player. And you're like, why that? Head scratcher, Richard Seymour, etc. And you still will see them go forward in terms of building their culture. I think he's taken some of his lessons from that situation. When the owner sits there and he watches the team and he's like, I know Saquon Barkley's out, so who's our leading rusher? And they say, Daniel Jones. And you're like, Daniel Jones? That's the quarterback. And then you say, damn, he's getting sacked again. Only behind Carson Wentz, who holds the ball for 8 seconds every play, and Joe Burrow, who doesn't know well enough that you need to throw the ball on a mental clock. Why is his quarterback getting hit so often and being the lead rusher? It doesn't add up if you're an offensive line coach, so guess what? Peace. Coming up in our big story, Kyler Murray says he's one of the best in the league. We'll tell you if he sounds cocky, looks cocky, or confident. Next, speak for yourself.
Thursday night is monster. It's huge. You win, your team owns the tiebreaker against Seattle in the NFC West, but your last matchup with them this year, they didn't even hit you once.
I don't really pay attention to those numbers because I know the type of guys they have over there. I know the guy I played against them. They have great players. So for us to, go out there in Seattle and try to get a win is going to be tough, but we got the guys to do it.
You're watching Speak for Yourself. Catch Aaron Andrews' interview with Kyler Murray tonight at 7:30 Eastern before the huge Thursday night matchup between the Seahawks and Cardinals on Fox. Speaking of the Cardinals star, coming off an unbelievable game, winning Hail Mary touchdown to help put his team in a three-way tie for first in the NFC West. Play also boosted Kyler Murray's MVP chances. Currently has the fourth best odds according to Fox Bet. Take a listen to the Cardinals quarterback on the MVP talk.
I haven't done anything, so as far as MVP deal, I'm not even really worried about that. I was, as far as my personal confidence, do I believe that I'm one of the best in the league? Yeah, of course. I mean, I think anybody should be confident in themselves.
Greg is back, but Acho, does Kyler Murray sound cocky, something that I just can't help, or confident, saying he's one of the best in the league?
To me, it's easy. He sounds confident. The delineation for me between cocky and confident is whether or not it's the truth. If you speak in facts, then it can't be cocky. It's just a factual matter. It's like sometimes Marcellus says, somebody says something that's factual, but it might be mean. It's like, no, it's a fact. They stating facts. Kyler Murray, he's not being cocky, sir. He's just letting the world know what time it is. In a world where #1 pick quarterbacks are more likely to be bust than they are to be ballers, Kyler Murray's like, I showed up on the scene, and within about 20 games, y'all are already mentioning that you're not mentioning me in the MVP conversation, which means you mentioning me in the MVP conversation. That means I'm right there hovering around it. I also look at the fact of Kyler Murray is having a historical season when you look at his touchdowns plus his rushing touchdowns. What he's doing running the ball plus throwing the ball as a quarterback, we haven't seen anything like it. Can we talk about my full screen?
Yes.
Most games with a pass touchdown and rush touchdown in a single season. Kyler Murray, he's clearly going to smash that record because he's already tied the record with 8, and he got 7 games remaining. This dude he's exceeding all expectations. Again, I've said this earlier. I will say this once again. The Cardinals took a huge leap of faith drafting Kyler Murray. A huge leap of faith because you had just drafted a first-round pick from a big brand program in UCLA when they drafted Josh Rosen, number 10 overall. They fire their coach, and they ship out their top 10 quarterback. So if you bring in Kyler Murray, everything the Cardinals franchise is dependent on your success, and he succeeded. I don't see cocky. I hear confident.
Did you just try to soften what cocky is and call it confident? Sound like you did. But to me, he sounds cocky, and that's a good thing. I think cocky gets a bad rap in this world.
Okay, talk about it.
Let's defend cockiness a little bit, because I know I'm cocky. Between the ears, oh, yeah, I'm very cocky. If y'all only knew the audio that goes on between me and myself all day long, I am very cocky, but I don't wear it. So then y'all can start looking at me like, oh, he's confident. Or even worse, when people come up to me, you're so down to earth. And I'm like, boy, you are not listening to the soundtrack playing in my head. Because to be Kyler Murray, to be anybody in this world, do you know what you have to think about yourself to become 1 in a million, which all football players are, let alone someone in an MVP conversation? You can't be normal and get where he is. So it's interesting. This is a guy right now who he's on pace to be the first NFL player ever to have 4,000 yards passing and 1,000 yards rushing in a season. 1 out of 25,796 players that have ever taken a snap in the NFL. You're going to be one of those 25,000 plus. That is also one of a million. And now you're not going to be cocky. It's okay. And he told on himself why he's cocky, because he started to tell you how he really feels about himself. And then he started to bring everyone else into it. He's like, oh, yeah, everybody should feel that way. You know why you bring others into it? Because you just realize you're way out there in terms of the reception. But in reality, if you don't think you're the one, how you ever going to become the one like Kyler Murray?
I like this. I agree with both of you. I'm a side more with the cocky, though. And this is my reason why. Because, Marcellus, you hit it right there on the head. Cocky is not always a bad thing. And the reason why I say he's cocky, because he has kind of these big brothers. You know, you ever been you ever seen a guy who always talks all that trash, but he's not really the one that fights? Kyler Murray, he throws some punches, but when you look to the left and you look to the right and you got a Hall of Famer over here and a potential future Hall of Famer over here, DeAndre Hopkins, Larry Fitzgerald, and we're leading the league in rushing, and I'm a part of all of it. I have every bit to be cocky, because when I speak, they gon' punch. They gon' speak too. Their game is gonna be loud. So I got guys who gonna fight for me. I ain't even got to fight, because what I do, they gonna back me up. What I say, they gonna back me up. So everything that he's done, he's been great. He's been great throwing the football. He's been great rushing the football. All the stats align to this is a special player. However, when you add the pieces around you that gives you that lift, they're holding your arms up even though you tired, and I can't lose. He's in a win-win situation.
Fellas, this conversation, it's been so eye-opening for me. It's been so refreshing to hear you all redefine this term cocky. I agree with both of y'all now. This is one of those kumbaya moments, Marcellus. I know you don't like when people and things get along, but I'm sorry, we're here. Me, you, and Greg, we all agree for once. Cocky, I feel like, is like that word judgmental, right? Judgmental has such a negative connotation now. You can't judge me. Wait, I can't assess the situation that I'm entering into? Like, to be judgmental now is to be like the worst type of human being. You're so judgmental. I feel y'all. Because at first I came into this thing thinking that cocky was a bad thing. Oh, he's so cocky. It's a negative adjective, negative attribute. But I just wanted to say that you gentlemen opened my eyes for the first time, and probably the last time.
I appreciate that. You're welcome. I told you Moana's going to come in. You're welcome. I love that song. All right, here's the thing. You talk about judgment, and I'm very judgmental, so people always say that to me, and I always have an argument about being judgmental. I'm like, look, I'm just trying to group you all together and figure this out. Now, you can show me different, and I'm open to that same judgment. But the point is, peer pressure is also one that gets a bad connotation. Peer pressure could be negative or positive. Why do we always slant it towards the negative? It depends on what situation you're in. But look at the situation Kyler Murray's in. You talked about a future Hall of Famer in Larry Fitzgerald, and you talk about another future Hall of Famer in DeAndre Hopkins. But what about your coach? Look how empowered he feels when his coach says, quote, I kind of visualized what he could be since he was 15 years old. Cliff Kingsbury's been knowing this guy for so long and been waiting to get his hands on him and give him that playbook. And that's what's empowering about it. Of course you're going to be cocky, not only because of your own efforts, but because of the collective efforts and support that you have around you. It's just amazing in this world today, bruh. When you talk about being cocky, people want you to have that as an attribute, but hide it. And it's weird because the only way you're going to go up the mountain, the only way you're going to climb and ascend and go through all that atmospheric pressure that makes it harder every step you take up is to fight with a fuel that is cocky. So in that situation, be careful how you call someone if you're not thinking that they're thinking they're the one. Coming up, the Eagles gave up a lot to draft Carson Wentz, but we'll tell you if they're fully behind their struggling quarterback. Cocky, confident, nothing. Next, speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself.
Yes,
the Eagles play the Browns Sunday, which sparks memories of the 2016 draft. when Philly traded a ton to Cleveland, including 2 first-round picks to select Carson Wentz, number 2 overall. Great decision, Eagles. Since then, Wentz still hasn't won a playoff game, and he's at the bottom in several offensive categories. Can y'all speed that part up? But this season, Doug Peterson was asked if he would make the same deal again. I'll take a listen.
Oh, heck yeah. I'd do it all over again. He's the guy we wanted. Back then, he's still the guy we want today. And I love everything about Carson Wentz. And he's a great leader for our team and our city, and I'd do it all over again.
Do it all over again, he says. Marcellus, do you think the Eagles are fully behind Carson Wentz?
No. Fully behind. They fully behind that cap number. They fully behind this dead cap number, but they're not fully behind his performance and who he is, how they're paying him more and getting less from him. No. And you could tell that this was all BS. Classic overcorrection. Did you hear the sap that came out of his mouth? The gloss, the glow, the yuck. He was too extreme for me to believe that he was telling the truth. Think about it, Acho. Your quarterback is 31st, 32nd, 31st, and has the most giveaways in major statistical categories. Oh, yeah, I'll do it all again. I'll pay him the 3rd most amount at the position in the entire NFL, and I'll get the 3rd worst production. Oh, yeah, I'll do it all again. And what was that giving up? Because people don't remember how they acquired Carson Wentz. But let me break this down. This is what they gave up for Carson Wentz. A number 8 overall choice, a 3rd rounder, a 4th rounder, the next year, a 1st rounder, and a 2nd rounder. Oh, and Acho always tells me that this team needs some replenishing. It needs some assets. It needs some resources. It needs some health. It needs some depth. Maybe all the depth was gone when you went and got Carson Wentz for his injury-riddled MVP candidacy, and everything else has been sub 500 since that year. 17, 18, and 1. Last time I checked, that's a losing quarterback with winning money. Of course, you are fully behind the numbers, but not fully behind the players.
Sir, if they not fully behind Carson Wentz, who else they gonna get fully behind? Of course they're fully behind Carson Wentz. Marcellus, now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to peacefully put this in perspective for you. I've tried yelling. Yelling doesn't get through to you. I've tried pleading. Pleading doesn't get through to you. So I'm just going to talk to you. Man to man. That's it. Marcellus, the Eagles acquired Alshon Jeffrey, I believe it was about 4 years ago. They acquired Deshaun Jackson 2 years ago. They acquired Zach Ertz the year after me, I think, in the NFL draft. They acquired Dallas Goedert, I believe it was 2, maybe 3 years ago. They've acquired all of those players. The last time all those players played together, over a year ago, week 9 of 2019. Marcellus, they built a roster that would allow Carson Wentz to excel. Alshon, Deshaun, Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, including Miles Sanders, former 2nd-round pick, former 1st-round pick, former 2nd-round pick, former 2nd-round pick. But those dudes are never on the field all together at the same time. The Eagles are fully behind Carson Wentz because more than you, even more than me, they understand exactly what it is that Carson Wentz is still allowing them to do without help.
Okay.
I try yelling that to you. I'm not going to yell anymore. It bruises my vocal cords, raises my blood pressure. So I'm eating oatmeal every morning. I'm trying to bring down my blood pressure, bring down my cholesterol, sir. See, the problem, Sal, is very simple. Carson Wentz is doing just about as much as he can do. I've drawn the parallel before. Russell Wilson, he's overextending, turns the ball over. Carson Wentz, overextending, turns the ball over. Remember, Russell Wilson, sir, was rated the number 2 overall player in the NFL coming into the season. Where was Carson Wentz?
He wasn't top 100.
He wasn't on.
For good reason. They got that one right.
So if the number 2 overall player, the 2nd best player in a league of about 1,100, 1,600 players before cuts, in a league of 1,100 players, if the number 2 player can turn the ball over 10 times because he's trying to overextend,
you want to go one,
then I would assume that a man, Carson Wentz, who wasn't even the top 100, could make the similar type of mistake.
Whoa, is the number 2 player 31st in passer rating? Is the number 2 player 32nd in completion percentage? Oh, he doesn't fall that low. You know what's interesting? I love your take when you say he doesn't have the proper resources. Everyone's injured. I like that. That's real. Except his issues are not help dependent. Think about it. Decision-making doesn't matter who's running the route. Make a decision. That's about you. How about accuracy? It doesn't matter who's out there. Throw the ball where they can't.
Who's open?
Who's open? First of all, Everybody, ask any receiver, what do they say? Every play I'm open at one point.
That's a lie, though.
I don't know. Even when they line up like this, you be like, yo, he open right, throw it right now. Carson Wentz will miss that throw. Here's the thing about it. There are just those two factors that I just can't shake. I understand he doesn't have all his receivers. He doesn't have all his weapons. But the decision-making, to run around in a pocket in the NFL for 8 seconds and think something good's going to happen, like Carson Wentz, what are you doing? He does this repeatedly. So I look at this situation. You're not married. You don't have a girlfriend. Damn, best-selling author and no girlfriend. Ooh, these three's in trouble. Okay, so you probably know someone who's been divorced.
Okay.
And it's interesting, when you talk to someone who's going through divorce, the thing that keeps them married are the numbers. They're like, damn, it's going to hurt. Half? And then think about it. This situation is how Doug Peterson sounds to me. He sounds like a guy who wants to get divorced, but he's thinking about the numbers. Damn, dead cap? That much? $77 million? There's no way that they can say anything else. He's their quarterback until he's not their quarterback, and they can finalize the divorce.
Sal, you're so pessimistic in football and in life right now today. Usually you're an optimist, and I'm the pessimist. But, sir, maybe some people aren't only worried about the money, and that's why they stay together. Maybe some people are fighters. Ooh. See, the Eagles are fighters. They've been that since 2017. They've been fighters. Okay. Carson Wentz, he been that dude. Everybody counted him out. Oh, he got hurt. He's not going to come back. Can't lead the team to the playoffs. Last year, I think they started off 5-7. Yeah. Win 4 straight. Go to the playoffs. Counted him out. This year, Carson Wentz, terrible to start the season. Still leading the division. But here's really where I'm going to wrestle with you, big dog.
You want to go?
When I look at this Eagles schedule, because I had to do that this morning, Eagles fans, Marcellus, anybody listening, use your common sense and look at it this way.
Let's go.
What quarterback would have won games for the Eagles with this team that Carson Wentz has lost? What quarterback would have won games that Wentz has lost? The only one, Marcellus, I might say week 1 against the Washington football team. Because a different quarterback with the same roster, not beating the Rams, not beating the Steelers. Steelers, they gave up 29 points. They only gave up 20.
I'm just saying they only lost by 9.
Yeah, but they only gave, that was defense. Remember, end of the game. Chase Claypool.
You don't think another quarterback would give him 2 touchdowns?
That wasn't a Wentz issue. The Ravens game. Ravens only allow 17 points a game. Wentz put up 28. When I look at it, you might be able to tell me 2 games. You might be able to say the Washington game. You might be able to say the Giants game, Marcellus. You might. But the Giants, they barely lost to the Buccaneers by 2 points. What I'm saying is very simple, Sal. If we really were to kick back and look at it, I don't know what other quarterback would be giving this Eagles team a better chance to win than Carson Wentz.
Maybe I have an answer here. Someone that's not rated 32nd. Maybe the 28th quarterback. Maybe someone who's not ranked 31st.
So you're going to tell me you're not a product of the talent around you on the football field as a quarterback?
I've never been a quarterback. I played a position where it didn't matter who was around me to a large degree.
You played a solo position.
I played with quarterbacks who were great, and the team wasn't good. I played with quarterbacks that weren't that good, and the team was great. And it goes all the way in between as well. I just know one thing about Carson Wentz. He's been a losing quarterback since this MVP year. I know one thing about Carson Wentz. He's only completed 1 pass in January football. Whoa. He makes $39 million this year, and he's completed 1 pass in January football. He's not done anything in the playoffs. I love you, Acho. I love your hypotheticals. I love your maybes, your ifs, your probablys. Andre 3000. All that said, I don't see where this fascination comes from a dude like this.
Because this is what kills me. You all keep moving the goalposts with Wentz. Here's what I mean.
Let's keep it still. Let's do it.
Please.
Lock in.
2 years ago, what was it with Carson Wentz? He's never been able to stay healthy. So what is Carson Wentz? What is after 2018?
Okay.
Because he had the back injury and all that, and he came off the MCL, LCL, all that.
Always hurt.
Carson Wentz can't stay healthy. So what does he do in 2019? He stays healthy the whole season. Okay, so now he stays healthy. Now what's Marcellus doing? Okay, well, 2019 he stayed healthy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so now
and how'd that go?
He hasn't completed a pass in January football. Okay, so now he'll complete a pass in the playoffs. Then what did Marcellus do? Oh, well, he hasn't wearing Eagles green. He only did it wearing white. Stop moving the goalposts, bro. You said he couldn't stay healthy. He stayed healthy. Hasn't completed a pass in the playoffs. They're the first in their division. If they ride this thing out like they started this thing, it will be ugly, but they're supposed to make the playoffs. Stop moving the goalposts and judge him like you judge every everybody else.
I don't think that I'm moving the goalposts. I think that's just the world turning, and it's realizing that this is not the same dude of 2017. Oh, can you stay healthy? Well, the next year he only started 11 games and lost more than he won. Okay, can you stay healthy? Oh, I did. I won 9 and 7 and got knocked out in the first quarter of a damn game. Oh, can you stay healthy? Yes, here he is, and he's 3-5-1. Boy, I'd love to get overpaid like that. All right, it's time to make our picks for this week's free-to-play Super 6 contest. Sticking with the Eagles, their road game against the Browns is one of the matchups this week. Acho, give me a winner. How many? And smile about it. You are upset.
I'm wearing green. I got to go with the Eagles. Let me say Eagles 22, Browns 17.
I
don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that. I'm sorry.
I am going with Cleveland, 23-16. I don't even know if you call that upset or not. I don't know what the hell. Super 6 players have won over $1 million so far this year. All you have to do is correctly predict the outcome of 6 NFL games. So get your picks in before kickoff Sunday for your chance to be a millionaire. And for top stories, scores, and more, oh no, best-selling author, go to Fox Sports app. Coming up, Patrick Mahomes says there's no extra motivation to beat the Raiders in their rematch Sunday night. We'll tell you if we agree. Next, speak for yourself. Welcome back. Time now for a rewarding performance, sponsored by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Chiefs have a big rematch against the Raiders Sunday night. Same Raiders who handed KC their only loss in the past this year. If that wasn't enough, after the Raiders won last month, their team bus took a victory lap around Arrowhead Stadium. Hip, hip, hooray! Patrick Mahomes doesn't seem to need extra motivation, saying, quote, it's just as important as any other game in the division, no matter if they took a victory lap or not. So, Acho, should the Chiefs have extra motivation against the Raiders on Sunday?
See, Big Dog, that's why I like talking to players, because Patrick Mahomes, I don't know who he was talking to. We're going to treat this like any other game. But remember when Travis Kelce, Killer Trav, came on the show a couple days ago? I said, hey, bro, keep it a buck with me. Y'all taking this game a little more intently? He was like, of course. He kept it real with us. Yes, the Chiefs should have extra motivation, and they will have extra motivation. I won't lie to y'all, and I'm not going to let Patrick Mahomes lie to y'all. Marcellus, the Chiefs understand that they haven't lost a game in a calendar year. They've lost one, actually, and that one was to the Raiders. 1 year left without a scratch, left without a blemish. But then the Raiders going to sit here and embarrass us. You going to have a speedier receiver than we do in Henry Ruggs. Beat us deep. How you going to have Derek Carr out here outshining me, $450 million Patrick Mahomes? The Chiefs understand, like, yo, we got to stop the bleeding, because the Raiders, they actually think they're somebody, and they should if you're a Raiders fan. But for the Chiefs, you got to let them know that they are not. On my first lap, I'm going to come with my heat. My biggest point is this, sir.
Bring it.
In football, nothing is scarier than a team or a player that gets confidence. What do I mean? Alabama should have never let Clemson beat them back in 2016. Remember Deshaun Watson, corner of the end zone, Renfro, touchdown. All of a sudden, since then, Clemson been the top dogs because they got confidence over Alabama. Brandon Carr should have never let Odell Beckham catch that ball with 3 fingers. Because after Odell Beckham caught that ball with 3 fingers, everything changed. He said, wait a second, I'm confident I can be the best receiver in the football league. And for the next 2 years, he was.
Yes.
The Kansas City Chiefs looking like, we should have never let the Raiders beat us once. Because if the Raiders beat the Chiefs twice, now the Raiders are sitting here saying, oh, this Chiefs team that y'all can't beat, we got their number. So I think there is extra motivation, and there should be extra motivation, because it's a pivotal game.
Okay. I disagree with that. Extra motivation, like, because I'm a guy that I don't believe in 110%. I don't believe, oh, okay, now I'm really upset at you. You play football. You get between them white lines for 3 hours on a Sunday, guess what? It's a dog-eat-dog world, brother. We are out there to kill. And a situation where someone took a victory lap, as Travis Kelce even said, he's like, that didn't bother me. It's the fact that they beat us bothered me. And I think that's what Mahomes is trying to say, basically, like, yeah, it's a divisional game. We got to win because they beat us. But all this victory lap stuff, that's not entering into my mindset or into this conversation. If you think about it, also, Alabama is at the top of the college football rankings right now. All this Clemson, you want to go 2016. Who's winning right now? Who's #1 ranked right now? I digress.
Trevor Lawrence got it.
I digress. Seriously, the motivation for them to beat the Raiders is, one, the Raiders shouldn't be in our path in terms of what we want to accomplish. If you're the Chiefs, you're trying to create a dynasty. I know a lot of people attach dynasty already to them, but they've only won 1 ring. Singular, not plural. So if you're going to have a dynasty, you can't have pit stops called the Las Vegas Raiders. You have to plow through. You can't stop there. You can't stop down twice there. You have to continue plowing through it. So I think where their motivation is coming from is strictly a pure focus on the football field, and that this is an opponent that got us last time. Simple as that.
I still don't understand how you genuinely don't believe in extra motivation.
Hell no.
But we're going to have to duke that out another time, because let me tell my own stories.
All right, go.
My senior night, University of Texas, we're playing a team, Kansas State, led by Colin Klein. Colin Klein goes on to be a Heisman finalist, I think, the year later. It was my senior night. I played every game hard. I played every play hard. But against Colin Klein, who everybody had kind of crowned as one of the best quarterbacks in college football, I had extra motivation. I said, you know what? Every time I hit him, I'm trying to end his life. Now, it's not saying every time I wasn't trying to make tackles before, but that game, my senior night, the last time I was going to play at that stadium where I played for 4 years, visited for 5 years because my brother played there prior, I had extra. I don't know where I found it from. I don't know where I gathered it from. It's not to say I wasn't going all out before, but it was to say that I found a little bit of extra strength, a little bit of extra something. I do think the Chiefs are going to do the same, because they're looking around like, dang, the Raiders really got our number. I'm not saying Mahomes hasn't played hard before. I'm not saying Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm not saying all that. But when you go into a game, big dog, there is a little bit of extra that you find. And in this game, they're going to find it.
Man, I'm looking at your stats from that game. Yeah, but it wasn't your best game. What extra? I thought you was going to put some more on it. You gave me the same old Acho. This ain't no extra motivated Acho. It's a good Acho. That's why you got drafted. But damn, wasn't like you killed the world. Whoever Colin Klein is. Respect to them. Respect to you and your extra motivation take that I never will agree with, but we'll have that conversation. I want to talk about this conversation.
What's up?
When you're looking at a Raiders team, do you remember how that game actually played out? Why the Chiefs are really concerned about the Raiders? Because they went out there and beat them at their own game. 4 deep bombs. Derek Carr was like, oh, you think Patrick Mahomes could throw the football? 4 passes over 40 yards completed in that game. That game was getting a little stinky for a second there. You're like, yo, the Chiefs tried to turn it back on, and in terms of the gas pedal, you looked at the Raiders, they felt confident in that game. Enough confidence where they would do something in demonstration and know that it would get out. And guess what? Who gives a damn? We feel like we can beat that team. Last point, you've been to Arrowhead Stadium before, right? It's a beautiful facility. I ain't gonna lie. I wouldn't mind doing a little lap around there, the barbecue, baseball stadium coming down the hill. It's a sight to be seen. Coming up, Bruce Arians says the Bucs are tired. Tired, boss.
They're tired, boss.
We'll tell you if the players should be upset with their coach saying that they're tired, boss. Next, speak for yourself. You got another block?
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. The Bucs are 7-3 heading into their Monday night game against the Rams. But apparently, they're not getting a lot of rest. Tampa won't have their bye week until December, and Bruce Arians said earlier this week, quote, I gave the guys off until Thursday. Thursday, Marcellus. He said we're a really tired team. So, Marcellus, do you think the Bucs players are okay with those comments from BA, the head coach?
Yeah, you're okay with it. Your body certainly is okay with it. You're like, boy, do you remember coming in after a big win and coach walks up to you, and this is basically what happened, and he's talking all that talk, and everybody tapping each other low. Yo, he gonna say it. He gonna say it. And then he says,
we got See You Wednesday.
Oh, okay, say it.
What you get?
Victory Monday.
Okay,
and we were like, okay, but
we got See You Wednesday.
See You Wednesday. Super Bowl, who gives a damn? Right now, yes, travel agent. Okay, body refreshment, whatever you need to do. That's what he just did. He gave his team a jolt. See, we're so excited. We got 9 different ways to look at the same thing to get excited. This is a positive. A coach who recognizes and looks at the pulse of his team and a little fatigue, maybe. Or I could play with the schedule. We struggled in primetime games. Let's adjust the schedule. We're going to practice at night during primetime kickoff time. And now we're going to go out there and hopefully perform better. So nothing but positive. I'm a player on this team.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, for those that don't know, See You Wednesdays, Victory Mondays. In the NFL, you usually practice on Monday. So if you got to See You Wednesday, you're off on Monday. You're off on Tuesday. You ain't got to show up until Wednesday.
Oh, that's
ain't nothing better than to See You Wednesday. As a player, Marcellus, internally, I love it. Because far too often, coaches, they think, I hated this. In my NFL career, I had a coach, and he thought that we were robots. If you sleep for 8 hours a day, if you drink your nutrition shakes, your protein shakes.
We all know who that coach is.
If you rest and elevate your legs.
Come on, Chip.
You should be able to do It's like, no. Coach, we have emotions. Yeah. Like, I understand what the science says and sports science says. Like, we have heartbeats. We have minds. We have prefrontal cortexes. Like, we have things that aren't just, you can't treat us like a car. Yeah. So internally, I love this. Like, Bruce Arians, he gets it. I'm tired, boss. But externally, if I'm a player, I kind of hate it. And I hate it because I don't want another team to know we tired. Think about it. If you're the Rams, when you show up on Monday night, big bro, I'm like, these boys already tired. Like, these boys, first off, they're old. Tom Brady old as can be. Second off, they're old and they tired. Oh, now I'm going for the kill. So the reason I like it internally, because, yes, I love that Bruce Arians is not too far removed to understand what his players are going through. But externally, man, I hate it because don't let them know we tired, Coach.
Gotcha. See, this is where extra motivation comes and undermines you in terms of what you see from your opponent.
What's up?
Extra motivation has now guilt you. Extra motivation has now hooked you into a place where you're scared what the other guy can do because you think there's more to it. You think that if he hears, I'm playing against Acho and his team, he's going to be at this level. But if he hears he's playing against Acho and his team is tired, he's going to turn into the Incredible Hulk. That's why I don't believe in that, Jack. As soon as you land off the plane, as soon as you get on the field and you see another color that is not yours, I don't need anything else, brother. I'm salivating. Extra motivation scares you. It's almost a phobia that doesn't exist.
No, what I think is this. Realistically, in life and in sports and in football, hopefully you're not going to sit up here and lie, but realistically,
I don't lie.
You don't go 100% every play. You don't.
No, but you go 100% every play, you go 100%.
Yes, but you don't go 100% every play. When the Cowboys cornerback, I think it was Xavier Woods, I don't remember, when he came out earlier in the season and said, you don't go 100%. No. We came on the show, me, you, and LeVar, all former players, and said, you don't. No. Sorry, fans. So, Marcellus, you pace yourself as a player.
Yes.
In the game. The extra motivation comes from dictating when you are going to expend the most of your energy in a boxing match. If you know somebody is weak and wounded and you know you can knock them out for the count, you're going to expend more energy at that moment because you're going to try to knock them out at that time. So if you now realize that the Buccaneers are coming in the game tired and you play for the Rams, you're going to come out the gates even harder at first because you're trying to knock them out.
It sounds great, but I watch too much boxing. Every face-off when they sit there before the fight, I hate him. I hate him. I hate his mama. I hate his mama. His ex is my ex. What? They hate each other. Oh, I'm really pumped up. Ding, ding, pat. Oh, where the extra motivation go, big dog? And speaking of extra motivation, you keep talking about how you balled out against Kansas State. You did. The senior night, right? But that wasn't your best game. You lost that game, one.
Wasn't my fault.
Two, Missouri, you played even better. And the A&M game, you played even better.
My fault.
Where's extra motivation when you need it? Come on, Nacho. Coming up, our resident Chiefs fan, Uncle Jimmy, joins us with his own take on their rematch against the Raiders. Let's see what motivation he has. Next, speak for yourself. Before we go, Uncle Jimmy is with us. Patrick Mahomes said he doesn't have extra motivation against the Raiders. Well, let's hear from the #1 Chiefs fan in the world, Uncle Jimmy. What you think?
Yo, Raiders. Y'all know y'all messed up, don't y'all? Y'all run around here lying, playing games. Patrick Mahomes is going to be coming to town, and he going to be kicking ass, and he going to be taking names.
He is.
Okay?
Nobody's scared.
Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I sincerely hope that y'all live by your own motto. What happened in Vegas, stay in Vegas.
Yeah.
So I hope that y'all take this ass whipping personally. Because y'all bought it on yourselves with that little victory lap around Arrowhead Stadium. But you know what? I told y'all. That's why Raiders fans are so sorry. They got more fans in Kansas City than they got in Vegas. Raiders been ran out of Oakland, Los Angeles, Compton. Hey, man, the Raiders changed cities more than Marcellus Wiley changed co-hosts. Them old Raiders fans. Maybe if y'all start paying rent in some of these cities, maybe you'll stop getting evicted. Maybe you'll stay there long enough to get some fans of your own and stop taking our dear land. Hey, start accepting responsibilities for these illegitimate badass fans of yours.
I do owe money in Alameda. I love it, man. Fox Bet Live.
Thanks.